Okay, so this is none other than your host, Steve from the back. You never know what I'm about to say. Or do you? I don't know. So, basically, I wanted to rant about some things in this, rant. You know, for one, part of this is about reality, part of this is about spirituality, and part of this is about, like, how sometimes they often depict let's just say how they depict other life forms and other forms of like intelligence and stuff in what do you call in sci-fi. Like how they maybe in a good light. Some they don't always depict monsters and things, or well, people like to use the word monster, but really a monster really is just really in its essence is really just something that's non-human, kind of, because you can call something a monster or a person a monster, and that could have like connotations to it. It could have things that imply certain things about a personality or a nature, but in its essence, that really is more, I would say, a derogatory thing, and that has to do with actual attributes, not just a simple genetic makeup or something. Because, like, you could call a dog a monster because that dog is out of control and that dog is vicious, and let's say that dog has, like, mauled other dogs and mauled children, and and wants to turn on its owner, and it's just really out of control. So yeah, you could call that a monster, but it's not really a monster in my opinion, just for being a dog. Now, I'll dare say some, let's say, religious sects and religious groups and things would like you to believe that simply that the dog is a monster by being a dog. And that's where I draw the line. That's kind of where I call bullshit, so to say. Just like certain people and certain groups would have you believe that just because you're a certain race, that you're a certain thing. And that's really another load of bullshit already. It's just sometimes you just have to call out BS because, it can't be. It's just not right for certain things to just fly. So, I think you get the point. So, some people would have you also to believe that, first off, they would have you to believe that, what's the word? Beauty in its essence, in its, purest form, is only relegated to either, the human race, the human form, or also that it is only beauty in its rawest form is only relegated to a creation of what you would call so-called God. Almost as if God, whatever they call God, there's many groups that call things God, many religious groups. I'm not going to throw any names around, but they would call something or things, or really call a thing God, and believe they have a hold on the concept of that, or a monopoly on that. They would want you to believe that beauty can only be created, like raw beauty, in whatever form, can only be created by that so-called God. And that's another thing I have to say is complete bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit. Matter of fact, beauty does not come from your moral standpoint, nor does beauty actually come from your inner anything. I mean, now I'm not saying that someone can't be beautiful from within, but what I'm trying to say is beauty in its rawest form. I mean, just looks like body structure and ratios. Now, you've probably heard of what they call the golden ratio, and when people talk about the golden ratio, normally they're really just referring to human beings and certain things in nature, and they're referring to the ratio of something being perfect functionally, which means it's pretty much its ratios are, I guess you could say, perfect. You know, like you could look at a person and say, oh, they're ugly, they're not perfect, but you get my point. They have a certain ratio that makes them functional, which makes it to where they're not deformed, and you get the point. They're healthy and they're functional, you know. But what I'm saying is, beauty in its rawest form is simply just that. It's just functionality. Like for instance, now, if you had an extremely long torso and your limbs were just tiny, then how would you move around? Do you get what I'm saying? So obviously, you having these long femurs, you know, long arms, long limbs, and whatever, and you have this let's say you have this bone structure that is pleasing to the human eye. That's simply, and let's say it could even be a woman. You know, you have these women where they have, you know, a certain body type, and whether they're tall, short, whatever, they store their fat a certain way, or they have a certain amount of muscle. In their physique, their body structure is very pleasing. It's very pleasing to look at. It's very attractive. Okay, that is simply functionality. Because number one, they look like that because it is functional. It is simply so they can store their fat a certain way, so they can attract a man, which is a mate, a certain way. That's just nature. That's all it is. You're literally born looking like you look because nature selected you to have the ability to, number one, draw in mates, number two, be functional, you know, so you be healthy and you be strong, and that's all it is. It has nothing to, you could be the worst woman or man in the world, you could be the worst creature in the world, you know, you could be completely evil, and you could be a horrible person or whatever, and it has nothing to do with this idea and this false idea of that some great, bright, wonderful God, you know, just created you, and that's why you know, no, you know, or created something or whatever. You know, that's a load of horseshit. I mean, and I'm sorry to break so many people's little hearts out there, but you know what I'm saying. You can say it's my opinion, but in all honesty, it's a fact. You know, it's not an opinion, really. It's really not. It's not an opinion. It's an opinion in the essence that, yes, some people were created by some wonderful God or whatever you want to, well, I don't really say that. I wouldn't say we use the word wonderful, but, you know, yes, certain people were created by a certain thing. Or certain things were created by a certain thing. Okay? And that's as far as I'll go with that. But, you know, it's pretty funny how there's this, sort of narrative of that, you know, like, for something to be absolutely beautiful and stunning, it would have had to come from this whole, like, you know, little cherubs strumming on harps and all this glittery bright and sunshiny bullshit, because that's complete bullshit. And I could tell you that, like, literally, I mean, I wouldn't tell you, because if I told you everything I knew, then I would be giving you knowledge that you shouldn't even have, that you shouldn't deserve to have, to keep it real. I'm keeping it 100% real now when I'm saying this. Certain people, I would never tell them certain things, because they wouldn't know what to do with it. It's like, why would I tell you something that could help you when you're not deserving to have that type of power? That's what I'm really trying to say. Okay, now if you're a different person and I feel like, okay, this person is valuable to me, I'll tell you certain things so that you can use that power and you can use what I just told you, you know. But some people, I'm not even going to open my mouth, I won't explain it, I won't really go deep into it, because you don't deserve to know certain things. And there's certain things that are hidden for a good reason, because sometimes you give, you know, someone too much power and they go out of control and they'll actually turn against you with that power. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. But what I am going to say is just what I said. You know, the funny thing is, people sometimes they think they have a hold because you know, literally people have been programmed to believe a certain narrative. And that narrative, I'm going to tell you right now, here and now, that, and listen to me, that narrative is completely 100% bullshit. I'll say that again. I don't care how emotional people want to get. People go to churches, people go here and there, people, you know, they have aunts and uncles and grandparents, and they have relatives and people who believe this and believe that and speak this and speak that and get all emotional, and you can think whatever you want to think. Now, I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to say a lot of things. There's so much that I'm not saying. But what I'm going to say is there are certain things. I'm not saying everything someone believes is bullshit, but there are certain things that you have it so ass backwards that you are lost. And I would dare say, I'm glad you're lost, some people. Because if you fucking knew, if you knew how do I say this, basically in a nice way, if you had a single clue of how lost you were, then you would be dangerous. And not saying you'd be dangerous, but I'm saying you'd be on the path to possibly being dangerous, potentially. I don't know, maybe you would. You know, I don't know. But I'm gonna tell you this. This whole narrative of this, like, light and sparkly bullshit is bullshit. And I'll also say that, I'm going to say this, and listen to me good. Listen to me very, very clearly. Okay? What I'm going to say is this, is that oftentimes, all of that positive and all that, like, loving this and that and inner beauty and all this, you know, stuff that people try to, what's the word? They try to slap that inner beauty and kindness and care and what's the word? Mercy and all this. They want to think that they can, like, attribute that to these images of these beings and things that are so human and so white bread most of the time and so angelic and so light and fluffy and all this, and, you know, the classical Prince Charming and this and, you know, and all that. I'm gonna tell you 100% fucking real. Half of the time, that type of energy is coming from not something that looks like that, number one, and then number two, it's usually not coming from a light place. That's all I have to say. It is usually coming from more of a dark place. And I can actually say that for myself. That type of energy is something that is often in places where, that's a good way I can put it, it's often in places where you may not expect it to be. And what I say about that is, and I'm not talking about people, because obviously people are transparent a lot of times, so it's like, you can tell that a person is really good, no matter how they can seem really, like, harsh sometimes, or kind of, like, rough, but you can tell when a person is has true beauty inside of them. I'm not talking about looks, I'm talking about, like, inner beauty, you know, like, and as far as, like, a personality and an energy in itself, in its rawest form, but I'm saying that the darkest, most hellish type of terrifying places, and I'm talking about, now when I say places, I'm not just talking about places like, you know, the ghetto and the projects. I'm not talking about that. I'm just not talking about just, like, certain black people like myself. I'll, you know, put myself out there. I'm a person to where I know of some people and places, but inwardly, I am not a person who is void of, you know, void of love, void of many beautiful things that, you know, a person can have in them. I'm not void of those things, But what I'm trying to tell you people is this, is that a lot of that energy that you would think you would find in these so-called lighter areas, I'm saying lighter as in like these so-called angelic, so-called Christian, so-called that, I'm telling you, you're going to be fucking disappointed. You're going to be disappointed. And especially in this time and age, because in this time and age, I'm going to say it, it's going to sound cheesy, but this is fucking 100% real. This is truth. You ever seen the movie Riddick, where they said, basically, like, you know, for real evil to really be defeated, it's not going to take a good, it's going to actually take a different type of evil? Well, that's really what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that you're basically what this world actually needs, like really needs, is not, I will say it again, it is not going to come from a source that is so bright and angelic and this and that. No, it is coming from something that is very feared, very dark, but very powerful, and the love that you're going to receive, or that's going to basically change your whole life, it is not going to come from a place that is conventionally, and this is not for everyone, but this is for a lot of people, and this is more relevant to this day and age because times change. And if you think what I'm saying is bullshit, then that's okay, because it's truth, and it's not going to change. That's what I'm saying. You can not believe it if you want, but that doesn't change shit. I'm just saying it because it's true. Okay, it's coming from a very dark place. Okay, and to try to harness, or to try to be on this bandwagon of all this, light, fluffy. I just have to say, Christian, woo, spiritual. If you want, for you to delve into that, you would be basically what I'm trying to say is, if you're out like 1 out of a million, then that might work for you. But other than that, you're just wasting your fucking time. you're wasting your time. So I'm gonna go back to the not so spiritual. I'm gonna go back to the sci-fi stuff I was talking about. So basically, I chose a lot of these images because these characters are more monstrous characters, but what they do depict very well is they depict the fact that when you want to talk about like raw power, raw beauty, raw dominance, raw, what's the word? Damn, what was I'm trying to... Raw attraction, like raw sexual attraction, raw power, raw dominance, the ability to actually do things, like raw strength, raw athleticism, all of that, all of those attributes coupled with the attribute of the world of animals, the world of beasts, and intelligence, put all into one. That's what you're gonna wind up with. Okay, that's what in Hollywood a lot of times they portray these things as like monsters, but what I'm trying to say is, in essence, those type of attributes are things that would be attributed to gods, and those type of gods basically, not in these modern times so much, but back then people understood the value of those attributes. Okay, and the thing was, people honored gods as they should, and they respected them as they should. Obviously, over time, things have changed, and now people don't really give a shit, and people, to their own detriment, really have no fucking clue. That's how to say it. So I'm just saying that, like, if you can really get a idea of you know, like what I'm trying to say is, if you could put a face, onto something, if you could put a face onto an idea, like if you could put a face onto something that is you know, powerful, that is what's the word, beautiful in the sense of that it is majestic, and it is you know, it is basically perfectly formed and very formidable. That's what these so-called monsters are. You know, that's really what that is. You know, that's the only way I could put it. So it's kind of like, you know, people put a lot of and I'm going back into like the moral and spiritual aspect of this. People put a lot of emphasis on like negative things, and it's all a program. You know, it's all a program. Um, I would dare even say the smartest people in the world will literally tell you, they'll feed you a bullshit and tell you something like something is bad, and the reason why they're telling you something is bad is because the real truth is they really just want the power for themselves. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know, like they'll tell you that something is evil, but the reason why they'll allow people to say something is evil is simply because they know that, okay, because there is a such thing as evil, but maybe sometimes, often, I'll say literally yes, often something that could be evil often can be good, and will choose to either do one. Well, it'll choose to do evil, or it'll choose to do good. You know, but the thing is, it has the power to do either. And that's what real power is actually about. Real power is about having the ability to create life and to destroy it. If that makes sense to you. Real power, I'll say it again, real power is about having the ability to do something good or to do something evil. It's about having the freedom to choose, and then the ability to do either one. And that's what power is, and I'd say in essence that's what a god really is. That's what a god is. You know, it's a god has the power to do something terrible or do something very what's the word? Very good. You know, but it has the power to choose, number one, which is freedom, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I have to knock it over people's heads. Like, how many times do I have to tell people that, you know, freedom is a beautiful thing? If you would just imagine that you were wealthy enough to do almost anything you wanted, you could do something completely horrible and get away with it, or you could do something completely beautiful and wonderful for some people or someone or for yourself or whatever, and get away with it. You have to understand that the idea in the notion that you either have to choose one or the other, that's false. That's a load of shit. And then number two, you have to realize that I don't give a fuck if you look like Satan himself, literally, and you're scaly. And I know that's not really, that's just people's portrayal of Satan, but you get what I'm saying. If you look like a classically what they call Satan, and you got horns, and you know, and you're scaly, and all that other bullshit, it wouldn't matter. If you have the power to do something, you're going to do what you want to fucking do, and no one's going to say anything about it. You know, so all this bullshit about that, you know, you got to be light and fluffy, and you know, you got to be sparkly and bright and all this bullshit, that's 100% nonsense. Okay, it wouldn't matter what the fuck you looked like at that point. You know, you would do what the fuck you want to do because it's your choice, and then you have the power to do one or the other. You know, and the people that you don't like, it's really a sad day for them, because they're the ones that are going to feel the wrath, and then the ones that you do like, they're the ones that are going to get the positive off of it. And that's what life really is, and that's the reality of things now. Okay, and that's the way it's always been, but that's just the reality of this thing. Okay, so what I try to talk about in these type of videos is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cut the BS. I'm trying to just really cut the bullshit, and not talk about everything, but at least get through some people's heads that you know, you need to take and this is why I'm doing this. Some people would say, okay, so what are you? Are you just going to come out and say that you're a Satanist, or you're, you're this or that, or you what are you? Like, what are you talking about? Well, I'm going to say this. The thing is that I am a person who understands what certain satanic things really are. Okay, I'm a person who understands what certain so-called demonic things really are. And I'm a person who firsthand has experienced some so-called demonic things or some called satanic things, and I found to my own pleasure, actually, I found that these things are not what people make them out to be. Sometimes the thing is, people are so terrified of things that they never will step foot. It's like they literally say, okay, I'm not even going to step foot in this shit. I'm not even going to try this. I'm not even going to allow this to have any pull, because I'm terrified of it, because I've been told, don't do this, stay away from this, stay away from that. And okay, it's like, well, did someone tell you that because they actually believed what they said? One, did they tell you that because they wanted it for themselves? Because people are like that, and that's why I'll say it. I'll keep it real. I fucking hate you people. You're disgusting. You're fucking disgusting, and I fucking hate you. I mean, there's people that I do love, but generally I fucking hate people. That's why. Because the truth is, you, just like men and women are the same way. Like, a man will say some shit about a woman, right? Because, you know what it is? He wants that bitch for himself. A motherfucker will be like, oh, she's a hoe. Did you know she did this? Oh, and girls are the same way too. I hear girls talk shit about other women all the time. Like, oh, she's this, she did that. Oh, her and her boyfriend this, her and her boyfriend that. Motherfucker, you know why you talk that shit? You talk that shit, and this is what I mean about human beings, people. This is how you are. You talk that bullshit because, bitch, you want her fucking man. Or the thing is, even if you know he's no good trash, you think the motherfucker is attractive, and you're kind of jealous that she has, number one, that man, or you're jealous that she attracts attractive men. It's always some bullshit, because human beings, it's always that we want some shit ourselves, so we try to make things seem horrible because we really are just scared that someone else will get a piece of some pie. Okay, so that's one thing I have to say. You know good motherfuckers. And you and that's the thing, you are. So hang your little fucking head like you always do, because you're a piece of fucking trash, and that's how humans are. We all know. You're a piece of fucking trash. You know that. I don't gotta tell you. It's just, the thing is this. The thing is, the difference between me and some other motherfuckers is, see, I see your bullshit, and I fucking know your bullshit. You could smile in my face, but I know what you're up to. That's the thing. I know what the fuck you're up to. So I'm like a fucking fox, okay? I'm like a wild animal. Wild animals know the bullshit, and we just leave the situation. It's like, I know what you're up to, so I just avoid you. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I cut through the bullshit. I already know what the bullshit is. Okay. Okay. And that's what literally, honestly, some of this dark shit will teach you, is that it's to be just like an animal. You can see through people. You see straight through people's souls. You literally look right through a person's soul, look straight into a person's eyes, and literally can see their intentions and see what they're almost fucking thinking. Literally. And this is no bullshit either. I've literally had this experience where I've literally looked at a person and could literally almost tell what the fuck they're actually thinking. And a lot of times, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I see disgusting things, and I'm thinking, motherfucker, I don't want nothing to do with your ass. You're disgusting. It's like, it could be, I'm gonna say it again, it could be like someone, they want, they want to waste my time. It could be it could be a woman necessarily, maybe she's attracted to me, but I'm not attracted to her because she ain't my fucking type. It could be some fucking man, and the motherfucker is fruity and gay as fuck, and I already know what this person is thinking. It could be all types of shit. Okay, so literally, You get what I'm saying, okay? People try to say things are horrible because they're really scared that you would be interested in it. Okay, so that's one thing that has been done throughout centuries and centuries, and it has been a thing to keep people in bondage for. I mean, it's been this practice has been done for so many years. I can't even fucking count. Okay, this is the thing. If you don't believe me, well then you don't believe me. But I'm telling you the truth. So people call things demonic. People call things evil. People actually try to portray dark energies, because these are energies. People try to portray so-called dark energies, powerful energies. They try to portray them as things that so frighten people, and literally things that frighten and intimidate people that are actually just soft and have a softer makeup. Because the thing is, if you're someone like me, number one, you already have a warlike makeup. You're already born into the mold of a warrior. In the blood, your bloodline basically is how do I say this? Your bloodline has a lot of warriors in it. Basically, that's where I come from. If you were to look back at the people that were literally in my family far before me, you would, if you're smart enough, I'm sorry to toot my own horn, but if you're smart as me, you would calculate that whether some people knew it or not, that bloodline comes from people who are very spiritually adept, who could easily be adept witches, adept warlocks, and also very fierce, vicious fucking warriors, okay? That's the type of blood that I have running through my veins, okay? So I'm not the average person. So these little images of, what you call monsters and this and that, man, I've been in love with that shit since I was a child, because that is part of my genetic makeup. Okay, this shit doesn't scare me. It doesn't faze me. It just don't. It don't. Because I appreciate that type of energy and that type of power, because that is what I am of. It does not faze me. Okay, not in the least. It doesn't faze me. It means nothing to me. What I'm saying is, it doesn't make me afraid. It doesn't. Things like that don't scare me. Okay. It doesn't. So that's one. But certain people, many people, and I mean many, because there's a lot of people who are just different. It scares you. So their mentality is, okay, we're gonna make this look scary. So you're gonna be turned off by it because it's scary to you. It's intimidating. So they're gonna put a face on it that generally would intimidate and scare you, so that you won't want anything to do with it. So that's a deception. And that's trying to keep you in fucking bondage. So then what they're gonna do is they're gonna say, okay, what button presses your cuddly, some people with their parent, they have this attachment to their parents, like a really strong attachment. Like they're like, oh, this reminds me of my dad, or this reminds me of my mom, or even people with sexual relationships, they want to, for whatever reason, they feel like they want to be with someone who, even on a physical level, which to me is kind of gross, because honestly, when I see women, and if they have physical characteristics that remind me of my mom, it kind of grosses me out, honestly, because the thing is, my mom is not an unattractive woman. I'm not saying that. My mom is not and was never an unattractive woman, but the thing is this, is that me, the way I'm wired, I never had and will never will have an attraction to my own mom. So literally, the way I'm wired, women that look more different than my mom, I think that's one of the reasons why I like White Moon so much, is because there's no semblance there. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't. I'm not going to be looking at a woman and think, now personality wise is different. Personality, sure, it would be fine for me to date a woman that had a personality like my mom, but not fucking looking like my mom. But it's funny. It's often found that a lot of people, yeah, they'll literally marry, even they'll have mates or whatever, and marry people that look like their fucking parents, that look like their mom, and I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine if it works for you. But I'm just saying to say is, okay, so some people know that, like, emotions will have you to have certain habits. So they'll try to make something that is bullshit look cuddly to you. They want to make it look familiar to you. Like, oh man, that makes me think of, my mom or my grandpa or my this or that, and get you all emotional and get you all docile and fucking stupid so they can lead you into the fucking slaughter. And then when you're all soft and weak and you're all fucking weak and whatever, then that's when, you're ready for the slaughter, or you're ready to be indoctrinated. And this is what I mean about this, and I'm just gonna fucking say it. This is what I mean about this Christian bullshit. For the most part, because I'm sorry, but I have to say, a lot of Christianity has done so much damage with this in society, has done huge amounts of damage with this shit. Is like, is to pull people's emotional heartstrings, give them imagery and images, and even in the Bible itself, to cause this emotional connection to people. And it works with some people, but me, I'm sorry, it just never. It used to work to some degree when I was Christian, but after a while, kind of like, how when you become an adult, you grow out of things, and certain things just don't work on you. You know what I mean? Like, certain things just don't work. It could be something like, let's say when you're younger, you listen to your parents because when you were younger, you were smaller and they were intimidating to you. But then when you got a certain age and you realize how fucking strong you were and what you were capable of, you realize that they weren't shit. And you got to a certain point where you didn't even fear them anymore. You didn't fear nobody anymore. You were like, okay, I respect you, but I'll kick your fucking ass. You know what I mean? You get to a point like that. It's kind of like that. Like, you get to a point where you don't buy the bullshit. Like, they could talk and you're like, okay, but can you back that up though? It's like, you don't give a fuck. And I was like that at a certain point with this Christianity. I was like, oh, so I'm supposed to be reprimanded or punished for some sin or something I do? And I'm like, okay, let me test this. And there you go. It's like cat's out the bag. Cat's out the fucking bag. You know what I mean? The jig is up. Is it the jig's fucking up? It's like, okay, this is bullshit. So I'm saying that, there are some people that have caught on to this bullshit, and there are some people that are starting to realize that, wait a minute, this whole narrative, number one, I'm going to actually cut it here, but I'm going to end the video sort of here, but I'm going to say some very valuable points. Number one, when people, false narrative is people try to attach physical attributes and looks to natures, which is bullshit. Number one, you have to really prove something. So that's one thing, okay? They try to put, horns and claws and all this scary shit on something and try to scare you, instead of trying to make you say, well, wait, whoa, I know this looks like this, but why does it look like this? Where's the power at? What's the actual nature of this thing? Okay, so that's one thing. Number two, what they try to do is they try to create a false narrative that okay, well, if something was created by something dark or something unknown, it's automatically bad. And not only is it automatically bad, but if there is a semblance of actual beauty in it that you find attractive, even sexually attractive, well, then that means it is of a deceitful and evil nature. And no, that's another bullshit. No, that's bullshit. No, that's actual bullshit. It's like, no, you would have to test that being or that energy or that whatever. You'd have to test it for yourself, because this is what I'm gonna have to nail into your head. Okay, I'm gonna have to really drill this into your head, motherfucker. If you are worth anything, if you have any pride, if you have any fucking self-worth in yourself, and you are not, basically, if you want to be a complete pussy and a coward your entire fucking life and die a fucking coward, then you will never step foot in an unknown territory, and you will never try something that people say is scary, dark, and this and that, and you will remain the same, and possibly your life will be fucking shit, okay? But if you have any self-respect in any self-dignity, and you, in any semblance of yourself, feel that you actually deserve better, and you feel like you you are not just this little piece of nothing in this universe, well then you can try. This is what I mean about try. You have to try something for yourself. You have to try an energy. You have to try it and experience it, and then you be the judge of what you actually think. Okay, that's another thing. So they don't want you, and by they I mean many people. These are human beings. Okay, these are not like some spirits or some. These are people who try to perpetuate these things. They don't want you to try anything. They want you to believe what your fucking grandpa said, what some bum motherfucker that goes to some church that you may know said, some shit that you saw on a fucking TV show, some shit you watched on a Netflix movie. They want you to believe all that bullshit because they don't want you to actually have any success, and they don't want you to experience any type of power in your life, and they don't want you to experience real love. That's the sad thing. They don't want you to experience real love, or love that comes from a darker source, because they would rather have you believe that those sources are void of love, and that they would never that love does not exist there. See, that's bullshit too. That's complete bullshit. The thing is this, that's what you need to understand, is if that shit was void of love and it touched you, you would be fucking ruined. Do you understand that? They would ruin you. They would tear you the fuck apart if they didn't have if they didn't have love. That's something you need to know. If they didn't actually have love, just like your grandpa and your fucking mom and your fucking this and your fucking that you talk about, if they did not have love, they would rip you to fucking shreds. You have to understand that, because these forces have the power to do that. And if you think they can't bring you to nothing, or you think they wouldn't. I don't care. You hear Christians say, "Oh, that couldn't touch me because God protect." Oh, okay. Let me tell you this: you might find yourself 6 feet under if you really believe that. Okay, because when these things get a hold of you in a negative way, like let's say they're targeting you in a negative way, they could bring you down literally to nothing. Okay, believe that shit. If you don't believe it, that's cool. That's cool if you don't believe it, because I'm saying this to people who I don't know, who are strangers. Now, people I know that I actually love and respect, or people that I actually am very protective over, because there are people out there that, like, they may not see me, they may not interact with me a lot, they may know me, but they don't know me like they don't see me outside of like a workplace, or they don't see me a lot in the street, or they don't this and that. The thing is, when I'm protective over certain people, it's like they not know it, but I protect them in a sense. Like, even though I'm not near them, I basically have goodwill towards them, so I would not try to wish any harm on them. And anything that is attached to me, I try to perpetuate that they would be protected, and they would not they they would not be touched in a negative way. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you this though, on the same coin, if you're fucking thinking that, like, certain things don't have the power to rock your world, I'm gonna tell you, they will fucking rock your world, and they will eat you alive. They will eat you alive, okay? And you won't know what the fuck hit you. You won't know what to do about it either. That's the thing. If you don't believe it, that's fine, okay? But I'm telling you straight. I'm just telling you straight up, okay? So, the thing that people need to realize is that if these things did not have love, these dark forces did not actually have love, it would be complete and utter chaos. Do you don't understand that? See, what you need to understand is this, is that this world has certain forces and laws, just like there are laws of nature, just like there are seasons. There's types of things that are just raw forces, okay? if these forces did not also have the ability to be malevolent or whatever, or positive, and they could only be negative, just like these so-called Christians and whoever are always saying that they're always calling something that's outside of their understanding deceitful, because their narrative is that it doesn't matter how much something tries to tell you it is good or this or helping, even if you really do feel help. Like, you're like, well, you know, my finance is good, my let's say it could be for, I don't know, not for everyone, but for some people, let's say if they can say my relationship is good, my marriage or my friendships, my this and that is good, my finances, I feel calm, I feel powerful, I feel more what's the word, confident when I get up in front of crowds and speak, and I feel, you know, peace, and I feel this. Now, the thing is, so-called demonic in satanic energy, I'm not going to go into it because it's not for you to know all this stuff. I'm not going to go into it with you. You know, I don't know who's listening, so I'm not going to go into it. But the thing is this, I'm going to tell you this though, just as much positive on this so-called Christian and this and that, all that fucking bullshit. Look, over where I'm from, we do all the same shit. What I'm saying is, in that realm, you can find peace, love, harmony, all of that shit, okay? Anything basically like this, anything that could be an issue in your life that needs helping can be taken care of with so-called dark and so-called satanic. And, well, like I'm saying, basically what I'm saying is there's love there, like there's love anywhere else. That's what I'm really there. Anything that is positive or not malevolent is also there as well. So if that's the case, then that makes all that bullshit that I've been taught, especially as a Christian, is complete bullshit. You know, it's bullshit. It's literally nonsense. It's like, so you mean to tell me that everything is deception in the so-called dark realms of existence? Everything is deception. No, you're full of shit is what you are. Your fucking deception is what it is. Your little human ass, that's the thing, your human Christian ass in, man, I have to say it, you know, it's like, you're deceiving. That's what's deceiving. You motherfuckers are, and you're deceived yourselves. That's the thing. Because I'll keep it real, there are few Christians that literally know what's the truth, and they are just so evil that they literally would try to tell you a lie. There's few that are that evil. You know who's that evil? Me. I'm that evil, because shit, I'm like, man, if you knew the truth, then your fucking ass would, you know, you would go crazy with it. You would I mean, not necessarily, but you may go crazy with it, you know? And the only motherfuckers that I want to be going crazy out here are me, my fucking crew, whoever the fuck that is. I'm not, you don't need to know anything. But what I'm going to say is, the only motherfuckers that need to be going buck wild and crazy out here are me and some other people, okay? So this is not going to be a thing where just like every fucking retard, and it would be disrespectful to certain individuals for me to actually just automatically assume that they even want to deal with certain people. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So look here, okay? The next time that you hear some bullshit that some person says out of their mouth, and especially, now I'm just really going to I'm going at Christians' heads now. If you hear some bullshit out of someone's fucking mouth, and they're Christian, and they want to run some bullshit like, oh, this and that and this, you know what? Listen to, don't let your emotions get you. Don't let what you've always believed get in your head. No, listen to what they say. Think of what the fuck you heard in this video, and then really analyze that shit for yourself. Okay? Analyze it for yourself and actually think. You ever had a light bulb moment? Well, this video is like a fucking light bulb moment. Okay, and the reason, do you know why I'm giving this video to people? Do you know why I'm speaking on this right now? I'm doing it because it's fucking right. Does that make sense? Well, I'm supposed to be evil, right? I'm supposed to be deceptive, right? Well, guess what? I'm not exactly so fucking evil because I'm trying to tell you some shit that is going to change your life. Okay, so I'm giving you something that I should not even be giving you because you're a fucking human being like me, and human beings are fucking scum. Okay, so I shouldn't even be doing this. But I'm fucking doing it because number one, I feel like I have to vent because I'm pissed off. I'm always pissed off at bullshit. But then I'm doing this because it is right, okay? Not because out of greed, not out of greed or whatever, or out of some weird motive. I'm telling you this shit because it needs to be said, and I'm tired and sick. I'm sick and tired of so many false narratives that I've seen for years. I almost said hundreds of years, but the thing is, I haven't been alive that long. I'm only 33 years old, but this has been going on for hundreds of years. I've seen so much bullshit, and I'm fucking disgusted to my core, and I'm sick of it. Okay, so I'm speaking on it. Okay, so this has been your host, Steve from the back. Um, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell button. Put a comment in there. Put a nice comment. You know, shit. I just gotta keep it real, man. So, hail Satan, hail Belial, hail Mammon, and have a nice day.